workplace. So again, as you look at the various groups, we wanted to compare them to kind of their behaviors, their expectations, compared to the other two generations. So when you look at that, look at the characteristics of each one, you can kind of see, how the boomers are, team players, personal growth, creative, work. Gen Y, balanced, informal, fun. And then here's socially minded, tech savvy, connected, multitask. So when you start to put them kind of side by side, you start to see the differences and how they might interact in a work environment. When you look at some of the assets and challenges, employees like the fact that we baby boomers are very service oriented. It's a good thing to have in business, to have people that are customer focused and thinking about customers, and that we're team players. But on the same hand, some of the challenges they have is our ability to embrace technology and really use it effectively in the workplace. To this idea that I can do it all. I don't need people to help me. I don't need this collaborative kinds of things. I can do it by myself. When you look at the Gen Y as an example, these are all very positive things. But this multitasking thing can be perceived as a negative. This person's all over the board. They're trying to do all this stuff. It can be a negative and a challenge in an environment that's particularly led by maybe a baby boomer manager or a leader. This need for guidance, could be perceived as, they can't do it on their own. They always need me to help them. So you start to see there's positives and there's also challenges involved with the behaviors that happen. From the how they're different. If you look at work ethics, work hard, be thankful, work right, do what you love. See the big difference there? Job changing puts you behind. If I've been with Steelcase 32 years, John, 20 some odd years. If you look at this generation, we tend to be very loyal and we stay with one job because it's, we feel it's comfortable, it's safe, it's, that kind of thing. This generation, I'm prepared and aware. If this company is not socially responsible, they're not exuding the values I want, I'll start my own company. I'll go out and do my own thing. Build a stellar career versus build parallel careers. Again, that whole idea of this career lattice. I can do a lot of different things to build this skill set that makes me a better individual. Help me balance everything and find meaning myself versus I need flexibility and balance. This whole idea of work-life balance is completely different. Before I got one of these things, I would go to work, put my 8 or 10 hours in, and when I went home, work was done. That's gone now with this. As long as I keep this on, that's gone. But that's this generation all the time. And the flexibility. I'll give you another great example. I have a colleague who's 26 years old, very, very bright young lady, works very hard. But she may take time out in the day to do something else that's important to her life. Maybe she goes kayaking, I don't know, in the afternoon, whatever. But the point is, I get a call one evening at 10 o'clock at night, and she wants to ask me a question about something to get my insights on something. Yeah, I was dozing on the couch. So we have this conversation. The next thing I know, I'm pulling my laptop out of my backpack, plugging it in, getting online. The next time I get this call, are you coming to bed? It's about 12:30 at night. So she chose to work based on her schedule and flexibility at 10 o'clock at night. And she brought me in, which is fine. She brought me in, but I would never have initiated that with any of you. But that's the way she worked, and I kind of had to, go with the flow if I was going to help her and engage her and that kind of thing. So it doesn't, because we can work anytime, anywhere, this generation takes complete advantage of that. And they may take a couple hours during the day to do things that are important to their life. Maybe it's going to the nursing home to see their mother or doing something that's important to them in life and putting work aside for a moment in time and then coming back later at another time and actually doing the actual work at hand. What is the nature of their social contract? What is my expectation of my employer, and what can he expect from me coming back? So we looked at this from an observation standpoint, and we really looked at it from the standpoint of let's do some contextual surveys and interviews and ask, let's go out and actually observe what's happening in the workplace, and then let's actually engage them in some activities that really charges their intellectual and emotional ability to say, this is what's important to me, this is what I'm not getting now. So we went out to 11 different cities and 9 different states across all different manufacturing, finance, all different elements of companies, and engaged in these activities. And we wanted to understand what are their expectations of work? What are the behaviors that we are observing when they're at work? And what are their beliefs about that? From a worker standpoint, what's important to them as a worker of a company? And what do they expect from their organization? What are their feelings on this whole work-life balance? And how do they approach that in everyday life? And then what do they think of the current environment that's supporting them? And maybe more importantly, what does the future in their eyes really look like or supposed to look like? So again, when you look at this side by side from a work standpoint, again, from the baby boomer standpoint, it's very goal and achievement oriented. I get a lot of satisfaction out of completing a project, winning a sale, doing something that's tangible. Here, Gen X is more about, is it motivating? Is it inspiring? Is it results-oriented type work? And then when you look at Gen Y, again, as I said before, is it meaningful and impactful? Am I making a difference in this organization? If I understand what the mission and vision of this company are, am I really contributing to the overall success of the company, and to continue to learn and grow as that individual? When we look at worker characteristics, baby boomers are typically very loyal. Work is life. I'm dedicated to this company. I'm dedicated to this mission. I enjoy leading and having some power in the organization, and I feel like I'm being compensated for doing a good job. I can make a good, comfortable living. There's a lot of security, good benefits. That's what makes me happy. From a Gen X standpoint, there's very limited loyalty. In fact, this generation, a lot of times you see, oh, these are the complainers. They always want things to be perfect. And they're always kind of pushing the envelope a little bit to get change within the company. But they also are looking for leadership roles and the expectation that I make a good high salary and good benefits. And then Gen Y on the same hand is there's a shift in loyalty. I'm really more loyal to myself and to my lifestyle, to my family, than I am to my job or to my employer. They're eager to lead, but they really like to be mentored and brought along. They really like to have these experienced, knowledgeable people kind of show them the way, if you will, and to help develop them. And again, more about not so much that I be the highest paid employee or that money's important to me, but it's a competitive salary and benefits that can meet my needs as an individual. When you look at work-life, work first, life comes after work. And what's interesting is we talked to a lot of these Gen Ys. One of the things that was striking to me was they would say, I don't want to make the same mistakes my parents made. And when you dig down a little bit deeper, they said, I watched my parents over all the years, struggle to go on vacation or struggle financially or, because, they were doing this, that, or the other thing. I don't want to have that kind of life. I want to have a life that, is fulfilling and one that I can have an impact on social elements and things like that. So a lot of it is from observing and being raised by the generation that, in their eyes, didn't do things exactly the way they should have. So again, the Gen Xers are struggling to achieve balance, but they want a lot of flexibility. They want their employee to give them flexibility so they can deal with issues during the workday, that they have some flexibility to move in and out and do those kinds of things. And then Gen Y is all about work-life balance. Family first, then friends, society, and then work is way down on the totem pole. And I'm not saying that these guys are sluggards or anything. It's just their allegiance is not in the same place that some of these other generations are. And then, again, they take care of personal life at work. You know, they may, you know, pick up their dry cleaning in the middle of the day or go kayaking or, you know, whatever. The work environment. Baby boomers like a relaxed, casual culture. They want spacious, private, and comfortable environment. That's why several years ago we started to go to a more open plan environment where we were taking these baby boomers out of private offices. There was such a, you know, a kind of, oh, why are you taking my private office? I worked so hard for that private office. You know, I've you know, spent many years here to kind of go up the corporate ladder. And then from the Gen X perspective, they want inspiring and collaborative environments. You can start to see how we're moving more toward that. And then Gen Y is looking for an active, social, and flexible. So create an environment that allows them to socialize, allows them to collaborate, is active, allows them to move around, kind of this palette of place. There's lots of different places I can touch down and work. There's a social hub where I can connect with other people, and I can have this work balance. And make an environment that's transparent, that I can kind of see what's happening in this department. I can see what's going on here, and I can get a global view of the company and how it's operating. And there's a lot of really cool ideas that we've seen out there of people that are, especially these globally integrated companies, where they want to connect their U.S. workers with their global workers, so they have this unique brand and collective brand regardless of wherever you go in the world. So some of the things that we saw, you know, some of you may see photos of the Google environment out in the West Coast. I mean, that's extreme, you know, where they provide lunches for everybody, there's gaming, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I'm not suggesting that we all go out and do that, but there's this idea that you create these environments where there is consistent networking and socialization taking place in the environment, and that they can experience this both inside the workplace and outside the workplace. That there's the ability to have these very informal peer-to-peer relationships, very spontaneous, very easy to create these impromptu collaboration sessions. And what we found is that there's a lot of interesting and meaningful things that come out of these impromptu or spontaneous meetings, if you will, that when you bring people from different diverse backgrounds together and kind of collectively collaborate, a lot of interesting, innovative things happen. This was a photo that we took in a little cafe in downtown Grand Rapids. It's actually 1:30 in the morning. And as we went here and explored this a little more, all these guys were studying for their GMAT exam. And they were in this little cafe at 1:30 in the morning. And what we understand is they like the synergy of the space, the buzz of the space kind of invigorates them and helps them to, you know, I would think so at 1:30 in the morning, you know, to kind of keep them awake. But these are the kinds of things. They like to go to third spaces, cafe spaces, you know, spaces that are socially really have a really strong vibe. The other thing we notice is these little workarounds. You see this? They've got stacks of paper here and books, and they're actually perched on a table here.